I hope you all survived Snowmageddon. That horrible 2 inches we got this, or maybe 1. I think we actually got 1 where we are. John spent most of his youth, or much of his youth, in Nebraska. So he still, 30 years in St. Louis, laughs at all of us. When literally at the grocery store, he's laughing now. Literally at the grocery store, the line from the on the day before was all the way from the express lane through produce and around the corner. It was like, for this 1 inch of snow we're gonna get. But on that note, good morning on this bright sunny day. It's good to see everyone in Zoom land too. Hi. And I'm just going to welcome you again to the Mindful Spiritual Center. And if any of you have not been here before, I'm Reverend Kayla Shudo. And the Mindful Spiritual Center is an independent interbelief organization that practices metaphysical principles. So we actually go back to the truths. Sometimes we call it new thought, but actually it's old thought. You know, Jesus talked about it and Buddha talked about it and all those spiritual, the spiritual masters that have been here throughout the ages. We practice by prayer, by meditation, by having speakers from multiple disciplines for you to be able to have somebody to relate to on your path wherever you are. We know and we acknowledge God's divine light is here with us at all times. And we come together to lift each other and to feel consciously that presence of God in our lives. So now I wanted to tell you today we're lucky. We're really excited because Reverend Jean Walters is here. Yay. You know, she's an author and a teacher and so many things. And she's going to be talking about awakening to the Christ within. And we have music by our own Nicole Enser and Julie Altmetter. And we're excited to have them back again. And also we will be having the inspirational moment with Reverend Megan Kennedy. And I believe on that note, I think we can go ahead and turn things over to Julie and Nicole.
The song's by Collective Soul. Give me a word, give me a sign, show me where to look, tell me what will I find, will I find? Be on the ground, fly me in the sky, show me where to look, tell me what will I find, will I find? Heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Love is in the water, love is in the air. Show me where to look, tell me will love be there? Love be there. me how to speak, teach me how to share, teach me where to go, tell me that I'll be there. I'll be there. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. 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 Give me your word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? Will I find? Lay me on the ground, fly me in the sky. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? Will I find? Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down.
That is a perfect message for today, isn't it? Heaven, let your light shine down. Thank you so much, because I really, really resonate with that. It's beautiful. Now it's time for our opening prayer. So I'm going to ask everyone to settle in and take a deep breath. Let's get grounded as we think in terms of opening our hearts and sharing. Some of us would like to share what's on our hearts and things that we'd like to pray for. And at the end of the group prayers, I'm gonna ask you to join me, and somebody's gonna remind me if I forget, that we're gonna all together as a spiritual community say, your prayer is our prayer too, to add all of our energy into these visions and images of what's true. And if we do have prayers that are requested already, and if you would like to send a prayer request in, if you'd rather not talk or you can't be here, please send it to mindfulkids@mymsc.org, and we will, share the prayer here at the Sunday service. So I'm going to start by requesting, of course, prayers for Reverend Lena. Hi, Lena. We're all sending you our love and light. And I'll also ask for prayers that we see this Omicron spike downward, and we're going to see all of those hospitalizations, our friends and families that are all working in hospitals or in healthcare in any way. We're going to see them cared for, and we're going to see their burdens lessened. I'm going to also ask for prayers for Oliver Green and his family, for healing and guidance on the journey to reclaim Oliver's health. And for Jim Piro, as he's navigating his stem cell transplant, and he's doing well. And we're gonna put Conrad, Damsgaard is the way to pronounce it, correct? We're putting Conrad and Denise into the prayer circle for comfort and peace as Conrad is on hospice and he's navigating this process. And we're gonna see Denise supported and lifted in her walk down the path with Conrad. And we're going to see the light of love shining on them. And we see Rich's brother and his brother Gary. We're going to see loving care for Gary and his wife Joanne as he travels through his health issues. And John Estelle and his family, prayers of gratitude. John's home from the hospital after 22 days in the hospital with COVID. So yes, I'm happy to see that. And we're saying prayers for Beth. And we're going to see Beth having peace and comfort to allow her to be gentle with those around her. Oh, okay. Well, we're seeing Beth with peace and comfort and able to accept whatever it is that she's going to be walking, the path that she's going to be walking with grace. We're seeing Betty Harrison healing from multiple health challenges, and for families of this, the family of friends of the Siglers for comfort and guidance through a sudden loss and ongoing emotional issues in the family. And for Pete, we're giving comfort and guidance, Pete, for you're embarking on your new medical journey. And then also continued healing and relationship issues that we've been told about. Let's see, we've got loss, surgery, illness, relationship, and job issues. We're going to put these people into our thoughts and into our heart. Diane McLean, Laura, Tony, Ellie, and Rose, Stephen Deal, Kim Kennedy, Nick, Angie's neighbor, and the sweet girl and family that we're always holding in our prayers, whose name remains to be. And then general prayers, of course, for all of those that are experiencing depression or loneliness, to see God's love so that they know that they are, even if they feel physically separated, that they really are one with all of us and with God. And we say prayers for any of those that are feeling fear and maybe are affected by racism or violence. So please add anyone now, if you'd like to this list. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like prayers for Rick.
All right, Rick, we're sending you prayers, love and light. Yes, ma'am.
My friend Pat Dorn passed this week, so prayers for the family, for peace and comfort.
Okay, and this is for
Pat, of course.
Okay, and this is for Pat. What was her last name?
Dorn.
Dorn, Pat Dorn. All right, so we're seeing Pat. Well, we know Pat's looking down with love and shining her love on her family right now to help them get comfort and peace through this period. Anyone else like to share or ask for any prayers for themselves or for any loved ones? All right, for anyone out there in Zoom land, we also see you and we hold you high. And now, from all of us, we share your prayer is our prayer too. So now please bow your head and consider blessing this service with me right now. We bless this service in gratitude. Thank you, God, for bringing this soul family together today to consciously recognize your presence. We bask in the light of our connection to you. We bless each other and are grateful for our shared adventure. Thank you for lifting our energy and showering us with your love. Today, we mindfully remember to step out of ego to see your truth that all is love. We know that you bless this service, each singer, musician, speaker, and every spiritual family member in attendance or that joins later in the recordings. Amen. And so it is.
Last weekend was rough. I got some bad news about my dad on Saturday, and things just weren't going well. And I woke up that Sunday morning and found out that Reverend Lena was going to be able to be here that day. And as much as I love being here, I felt a little stressed, because those are some pretty big shoes to fill. So, but it went well. But my point is, I was just feeling I was fed up. I was fed up. And I don't mean that in an angry, frustrated way. I mean that in a like a sponge way, I cannot absorb anymore right now. I just can't do it. And it started leaking out. And I cried my entire way to church last Sunday. And you know how when you're in sort of a mood like that, not necessarily a bad mood specifically, but just sort of sad and easily triggered. And I couldn't find the right parking spot, and I kept dropping my glasses, and just all of these things were happening, right, when I'm in the parking lot, and it's cold. I'm from Alabama, I don't like the cold. So as I'm in the parking lot, and I'm coming in, Mr. Pete, I hope you take this as a compliment. I was like, today is such an awful day so far. It would be really nice to see Mr. Pete this morning, because I really love Mr. Pete's house. And I come on in, and I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm darting back and forth between the two rooms, right? Trying to help set this up, trying to deal with the kiddos and whatnot. And I want to preface this real fast with saying, so many of you have been so kind and generous to me and my family, and you have offered me and my family gifts and blessings in so many ways. So I don't mean to exclude anyone, but come on, I've been doing this for 18 years now. So right now I'm just referring to the people from last weekend, okay? But that's not to cut anybody out. So I come in here, and I'm in here, and I'm setting stuff up. Actually, I was in the kids' room, and I was setting stuff up, and Christine Keys walks in, and she says, I have something for you. And I said, oh, you do? She said, yes. And she gives me these absolutely gorgeous earrings, which I will show you all later if you'd like to see. They're chakra earrings, and they're beautiful. Then I'm in this room, and I'm setting up the food, and Mary Zuckner comes in, and she gives me this gorgeous ring. Okay? So then I'm back in the kids' room, and I'm setting up stuff, and Miss Valerie walks in, and she says, I've got something for you. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, universe, I get it. And I turned around, and she gives me this CD collection of music and poems, Rumi and some other stuff that I love, right? Then I come back in here, and I'm setting up more stuff, and I turn around, and James Smith is there, and he says, I can't stay, but I brought something for you. And he gives me a box of masks for the kiddos that he had gotten somewhere. And then finally, as I'm closing that door last Sunday, in walks Mr. Pete. Thank you, thank you. And I was thinking about how amazing it was to have all of these people contribute to me turning it around and being a part of that. So then I got hung up on the word contribute all week. What do we contribute to? We contribute to a lot of things, don't we? We contribute to creative and helpful things. We can also contribute to destructive and harmful things. We can contribute to building ourselves up, building others up, or bringing ourselves down, or bringing others down, right? And then I start playing with the word contribute in my mind. I start trying to see what are the words I can find in it. I try to break it apart. I try doing these things. And I start thinking, wait a minute, pasta con broccoli, chili con carne, contribute. What if that means with tribute? So I look it up, and it does. And that changed it entirely. What do we give tribute to? We give tribute to people and things or places or organizations or memories or whatever that we love, that bring us value and joy. And if you think about paying tribute in a sense of maybe like I was thinking at the altar of the Buddha, you would bring gifts of fruit and flowers and things like that. So we think of paying tribute, that's a positive thing, right? Unless you're an ancient Mayan or Aztec and your tribute is human sacrifice, but we're not going to go there.
You just did.
Yeah. But my point is, in general, in modern times and here, we think of tribute being something incredibly positive, something you appreciate so much that you want to give something to, whether it's your time or your financials or flowers or in memoriam or whatever it is. So it changes it when you think about, I was thinking about, would you get on your knees before an altar and give tribute to something that was destructive, to something that was uplifting, to something that was not life affirming and did not put you in that place of being who you are with God. So the next time, and I know I'm really keep preaching to the choir here because we've all been listening to this forever, but you know, the next time you find yourself going down a road, or if maybe you know someone going down a road and they're really getting stuck in that kind of a struggle loop, you know, think about that. Is this something that I would offer tribute to? And how can I turn that around? So I don't know. I hope that makes sense. It really changed the word contribute for me anyway, and it makes me more aware of what it is I choose to participate in, because I want to pay tribute only to those things that lift me and others up. So thank you.
Oh, my baby, when you're older, maybe then you'll understand. You have angels that dance around your shoulders, 'cause at times in life you need a helping hand. Oh, my baby, when you're praying, leave your burden by my door. You have Jesus standing by your bedside to keep you calm, to keep you safe away from harm. Worry not, my daughter. Worry not, my son. Child, and I don't see my believer. Come to Jesus, let him hold you in his arms. Oh, my baby, when you're crying, never hide your face from me. I have conquered hell and driven out demons. I have come with the light to set you free. Worry not, my daughter. Worry not, my son. Child, I don't see my freedom. Come to Jesus, let him hold you in his arms. Oh, my baby, when you're dying, believe the healing in his hand. Here in heaven, we'll wait for your arrival. Here in heaven, you'll hardly understand. Here in heaven, we'll wait for your arrival. Here in heaven, you'll hardly understand. Worry not, my daughter. Worry not, my son. Child, and I don't see my believer. Come to Jesus and let him hold you in His arms. Hello. We're actually not waking up the Christ because it's already there. We are waking ourselves up to the Christ. Okay. Thank you so much. All righty. So anyway, we want to bring our active awareness to that deep inner sense. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. We want to bring our awareness to that deep inner sense of who we truly are, which is the Christ within, which is the presence of God. And there's a stillness that we feel when we allow ourselves. There's a stillness, and that's called the Tao. The Tao is also another name for the presence of God. So there's a stillness that we allow ourselves to move into, and that's what we want to embrace and make a habit of getting there. We live in a very noisy world, and so we can get all caught up in the noise. And then when we do that, we forget sometimes, and that creates like a sense of separation, that we're really not connected to Christ or the presence of God. But of course, that's incorrect because we can't even breathe without it. We inspire, we bring in spirit, and that's how we breathe. That's how we function. That's how our bodies work. So we're always there. So we know that every day of our life, at every moment, we have a choice. We could choose between love or we could choose between fear. And there's only those two energies. So when we're living in a sense of inspiration, joy, enthusiasm, love, kindness, compassion, we're living in a state of love. And it's easy to choose that because it's available all the time. No matter what situation you're in, there's other possibilities to expand that. And then when we live in fear, we're living in limitation, and we're living in an imagined idea, an illusion of what is not aligned with love. So we have those two choices all the time. A Course in Miracles says that the only thing that's real is love. That means the only thing that's constant, the only thing that never shatters, that never goes away, is love. Everything else is an illusion. So today we're looking at how we create illusions in our mind that keep us from the center, from this place of connection. In the way the Course of Miracles describes it is that we all lived in paradise. We lived in this bountiful place. Some call it the Garden of Eden. I think that it's a metaphor, of course, but we lived in this bountiful place where every idea was available, every possibility was available, all the food, all the abundance, clothing, everything was available to us. It was given freely. And that's the kingdom of God. And then we had this crazy mad idea that lasted for a second probably. And that's when we birthed the ego. Because at that moment we thought, maybe I could do without that. Maybe I could do this on my own. So this personality was born, this ego personality. And so that's what happened. That's how we created the ego and all the illusion that goes with fear. So in the Bible, there's a wonderful story that illustrates this principle very well. It's called the prodigal son. You've probably all heard it. But a man had two sons, and they were living in paradise. This was a wonderful kingdom, and everything was available, and it was bountiful. And one of the sons, the younger ones, decided, well, I think I'm going to try this on my own. I'm not going to live in all this bounty. I'm just going to try it on my own and see what I can come up with. And so he said to the father, I would like my portion of the inheritance, the estate, and then I'm going to head out and see what I can do. And the father, who has no judgment, said, okay, sure. So he divides the estate and gives the son his portion of the estate, and the son decides to head out. And he went to a far and distant land. That's our place. That's where we go. We go to a far and distant land. And during this time, he's playing around, but he's not particularly focused. And it turns out that he gets involved with gamblers and wild women, and also thieves come into his life and steal. So he basically is in a very low energy. And at some point, he's even been hired to feed the pigs in this fellow's estate. And so he's feeding the pigs during a time of great famine in the land. And sometimes we can relate to that. Not so much that there's not food to eat, but there's sometimes this feeling of not having food, the real food that we need, our food for our soul. So anyway, he's there feeding pigs and going, I'm really hungry. I'd like to eat some of this pig food. And so he realizes at that moment, because pigs are really low energy, right? They're symbols of low energy because they roll around in the mud or whatever. And so he decided that, this is crazy because all the servants in my father's house are taken care of. They have plenty to eat. They live wonderful lives. What am I doing? So at that moment, and think about when this might happen for you, he turns around and says, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home. And so whenever that happened for you, whenever you decided to go home. So he turns to go home. His father sees him coming from afar and runs out to meet him. Now the kid is saying, you know what? I'm unworthy. I've made so many mistakes. I'm really a screw up. I can't be your son. I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve it. Does this hit anybody? We had a moment like that maybe. And the father, I thought this was my favorite part. The father dispenses with all that. Like he didn't even hear it. Doesn't matter. Go away. And we need to know that because the father says, you're my son. I love you. I'm celebrating. My son was gone and now he's here. He was dead and now he's alive. I'm so happy. And that's what happens. There is never this sense of loss. There's a sense of, yes, you're here. I love you. So we need to know that. And then he says, let's bring you a ring, which represents commitment. And we're going to bring a new robe for you, which represents a new presentation in life. And we're going to put sandals on your feet, which is your spiritual foundation. And, we're going to have a big celebration because now you're here. And so I think that we want to remember that no matter what we dream up that's crazy or corny or screwed up or whatever it is, we're never forgotten. We never lose that place in the kingdom. It's always there for us. And then the last thing was that the father said, it is my pleasure to give you the kingdom. It is my pleasure to give you the kingdom. I think that's so beautiful because when we ask, when we petition, when we visualize something and go, well, maybe it's a little bit too much. No, it's my pleasure to give you the kingdom. So you will be given opportunity. You will be given new ideas, creativity. And these are things that come directly from the Spirit. They come directly from the Christ. So anytime we are feeling unworthy or negative or sick or guilty or shamed or whatever, that's all illusion. It goes away. We can dispense with it. We can look beyond that and see that there's blessings in everything. And so that's always reminding us that we're connected. If we're offended by someone, it's because our ego got involved, because we don't ever have to be offended with anything, ever. If you know who you are, if you know you are the Christ, the Son of God, that spirit within, if you know that, then nothing can offend you actually. So we are being delivered a lot of propaganda these days. And even you were mentioning about, oh my gosh, there's 2 inches of snow. Yeah. And so we're being fed a lot of things like you should be upset about this, you should be upset about that, you should be afraid of this. That's a lot of propaganda. And that's actually what it is propaganda, suggestions from the world. And I always tell people, please don't watch the news. Please don't enter into this drama of all the things that are wrong with the world, because it turns your attention away from that beauty that you are, from the beautiful essence that you are. So I had a business partner once, and she would handle the books. So she took care of the books, paid the bills. And she was frustrated one day and she said, I can't do math. And I said, and she was saying like, you know, math doesn't work for me. I'm not good at it. And I'm looking at her like, what? You handle the books. You handle the books for years now. Nothing's wrong. Everything's great. Your husband has 2 businesses. You handle the books there. So they're fine. So what are you talking about? She said, oh, where did this come from, you know? And she said, well, I had in elementary school, I had this teacher who said, you cannot do math. You are never going to be any good at math. And I looked at her and went, well, she was having a bad day. Maybe it's time to dispense with that. Maybe it's time to come up with a new program. So I'm suggesting that to anybody who might relate to this. It might be time to come up with a new program because she's carrying this program with her from elementary school. And that was a person that suggested that to her. You don't have to take anybody's suggestion. You come up with your own suggestion. You go into meditation, into the Christ self, and then there will be a whole new suggestion there. A suggestion of how beautiful you are, how amazing you are, how creative you are. So we have this option to receive suggestions from all sorts of people that maybe aren't in the greatest mood. And we can decide they're just having a hard time because I'm not buying into that suggestion. So there's a story of a fellow that I really love the story. His name is Les Brown, and you probably know about him. He's a wonderful international speaker. But Les Brown was born as part of a twin, a set of twins, and he was at like a warehouse situation. And immediately, there was no money, and immediately upon being born, he was adopted by this woman named Mammy Brown, and this was in Liberty City, Florida, near Miami. And she was a single mom, minimum wage worker. They didn't have much money, you know, they made it okay. And she did really well by these boys, she loved them. But he had a goal, he wanted to be a DJ. And so he took his mom's hairbrush at night and he would make that his microphone and he would practice on this microphone. This is Les Brown and I'm your bebop and rock and DJ, blah, blah, blah. And he had this big spiel and he would practice every night and just memorize this spiel. And he was a DJ when he did it. The other part of his life was that he wore bib overalls and he didn't even have shoes. But he decided that he's going to go to the radio station and he's going to get a job. So he went to the radio station and said, I'm here, I want to get a job, I'm going to be a DJ. And the station manager says, I don't have any jobs, you know, no jobs, you can't be a DJ. And so he went away. Manager's thinking, all right, that's taken care of. Next day comes back. I want to get a job here. Can you give me a job? Same routine. Okay, no, I don't have any jobs. Went away. All right, next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. Finally the manager thought, okay, I'm going to give you a job, but you can't, there's no money. You can just work here, but you're not going to have any money. Okay, that's great. So now he's got his foot in the door and he's watching the DJs. He's watching the way they work the board. He's watching what they do. And at night he's practicing his little spiel with a hairbrush. And one day on a Sunday, the DJ didn't show. He showed up, but he was inebriated and he couldn't go on air. And so Brown calls the manager and says, the DJs can't go on air. He's completely drunk. And the manager says, oh, well, call the other guys and see if one of them can come in and take over. And of course, Les Brown thought, okay, but he didn't because he knew this was a shot. This is how the universe works. So it's like, okay, we're going to give you a shot today. And so he didn't wait 15 minutes and called the manager back and said, nobody can make it in. The manager says, can you run the board? Do you know how to do it? Yeah, I know how to do it. So, okay, we'll run the board and play music. So that's exactly what he did. He went into the studio and he got on the microphone and he did his spiel. This is Les Brown and I'm your rockin' DJ today, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? He has so much enthusiasm, so much life that everybody called him and said, we love this guy. And that was the beginning for him. So he didn't have any money. He didn't have much education. He didn't have the right clothes, but he had the determination. He had the visual image of him doing this, and he was going to do it. And life gave him the right opportunities to move in that direction. And that's the point of it all. That is the way God works through us. And it's exciting because we can receive that suggestion. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be that. It's going to work. Or we can get the suggestion that, well, you know, you don't even have the right clothes. You know, you don't know how to be a DJ. But he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't buy it. And that's what I want you to understand is no matter what it is that you want, hold on to it. That's what God has given you. That Christ stuff is saying to you, you can be a DJ, you can be a this, you can be a that. I'll give you the opportunities. I'll show you the way. So I had a realtor and I was working with, and she wanted to increase her sales. And I said to her, well, I can tell you how to do it and it'll work, but you have to promise to do this every day and you have to do it with enthusiasm. She said, I'll do it. And I said, okay, watch my language here. I am the best damn realtor in this city. And I said, you got to do it. You got to really be in it. I am the best damn realtor in this city. And so this wasn't St. Louis, by the way. And so she said, okay, I'm going to do it. I said, okay, tell me, show me, tell me what it is. And then she did it. I went, raise it up higher. So she got it to where, okay, now that's going to work. So the end of last year, I talked to her. She had made 300 grand that year. She said, it's the best year I ever had. Because she held on to that and she would not deviate. I said, no matter what happens, you cannot change this mantra that I'm giving you. You have to stay with it. And that's exactly what she did. So the bottom line is it works. It works. That there's this energy within us, this Christ self, this dynamic power and energy of love that's in us that expresses at all times. And we have the opportunity to receive it and to act upon it. To live in this presence, you have to silence the doubt and the fear. You have to silence it. I tell people all the time, oh, I'm out. I'm not doing that conversation. I'm out. Because I'm not willing to relinquish any part of me that is not dynamic and powerful. I want to live in love. I choose that. And so it's the same thing. You have to doubt it. You have to release the doubt, release the fear. You have to say no. And then you also cling to the intuitive knowing. You know, there is an answer. Pay attention. Condition your mind so that you can receive the answer. You can't be living in chaos and receive this intuitive knowing. So you've got to choose one or the other. And you want to continually focus on the intelligence of God that flows through you. You can never be separated from it. It's impossible to be separated from it. We just believe we are. That's the illusion. It's really your life. So we know that the light of God, this energy, this brilliance of God comes through us. It comes through our spiritual faculties, which means our intuition, which means the images that flow through. It means those things that come when we're quiet, when we're still, and we know. It's not like, I think, I believe. No, it's I know. So there's a story of blind Bartimaeus. And the first thing blind Bartimaeus did when Jesus sent for him was to cast away his garments so that nothing could stand in the way of receiving the Christ. He cast away his garments, which means he cast away his old beliefs, his old understandings, his old ideas. He cast away everything that was in the way of receiving the Christ. And Jesus said to him, what do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said, Lord, that I might receive sight. And that's what happened. He received sight. So when we cast away the stuff that is not real, that's the illusion, and we move into the dynamic space within our heart, within our soul, that's when we're ready. That's when we can receive the blessings and the goodness. So prepare yourself. Catch yourself when you're caught up in the sensory world and the urges of the sensory world, and catch yourself then and decide, does this align with the truth of who I am? Does this align with the God self, with the Christ within? If it doesn't, then it has to change. You have a rule now, it has to change. I live by a rule. This is my rule. It has to change. I'm not having it. So there's 5 different elements, 5 different steps that I put on a handout over there, and they're for you. The first one is what we want to practice this presence, but there's also a saying in the Bible that says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. Behold, all things are made new. So that's what we're talking about here. We release race consciousness, human race consciousness. We release the ideas that we can't do it. We release the any negativity. We release addictions to our senses. We release people that aren't ready to support us. We release all ideas that aren't in our highest good. So in this process, you speak directly to God, because God becomes your companion, your inner voice that is there at all times. You don't ever have to be lonely, because you are in God and you can speak directly to God. And we also know that we're drawing on an unlimited field of consciousness. Just because Les Brown was born in some unfortunate situation doesn't mean that he couldn't be a world-renowned speaker and travel the entire world, training people. How powerful is that? And then sometimes we think, oh, it can't happen for me because something we dream of. Yeah. So the technique is to consciously and consistently work to develop this concept of God as our indwelling spirit. And all you have to do is remind yourself that you're breathing, because you're bringing it in every moment, and to form a partnership with this presence. So when I say to myself in the morning, today is yours, today is yours. You know, whatever comes up, you're handling it, and I'm just paying attention. And I do that every day. And it's so amazing. I see so many fun things going on when I do that, because it's like things show up and I go, yeah, there it is again, there it is again. So you can do the same thing, because it's available to you. And when we get out of the way and decide I'm not running the show, the presence of God is running the show, then it's like we start seeing magic happen. We want to develop this spiritual dogged persistence. So we will not let the idea go. I can do it, I can have it, I can be it. We also want to realize that the body and the spirit of God are the same thing. The body just is a little bit denser energy. That's all it is. But it is our vehicle through which we can express that. And then we release the illusory self, the self that wants to make believe that we're less than what we really are, that we're unworthy. Of course we're worthy. We're the child. We're always worthy, no matter what. You know, when a baby walks and they fall down a bunch of times, they just keep getting back up. And that's what we want to do. So that the handouts over there, the book Deep Truth is over there too. It's the international bestseller, by the way, and it's got a lot of really cool stuff in it. Deep Truth, Wisdom of the Masters, Reality and Illusion. So anyway, let's complete this. We talked about awakening us to the Christ self, because it's there, and we want to awaken our consciousness to it. And so let's take a few moments and do a meditation to kind of bring that in and make it so.
working right now, so I can't put it down.
What is it?
The lights aren't working.
Oh, no problem.
There's a work order in on, so.
And so we take a moment and we sit quietly and we breathe. And as we breathe, we know we're connecting with that Christ presence. It's always there and it's love. And so we feel this dynamic power of love as it flows through us. And we give thanks. There is this one field of energy, this dynamic field of energy that is God. And we are in it, and we're of it. And we let our minds be still for a moment as we receive it. Whatever it is we need, whatever it is we want, it's available. We are health. We are vitality. We are love. We are kindness. We are compassion. We are abundant. We are wise. We know this is the truth, and nothing can interfere. It is who we are. And we let that settle in to the deepest places of who we are, remembering every day that I choose love. And we live in gratitude for that opportunity, for that knowing. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you. I took my love, I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills, and the landslide brought me down. Mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, even children get older. I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you older, even children get older. I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Take my love, take it down. Climb a mountain and I turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, the landslide down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide bring you down, down? Oh, landslide bring you down.
Thank you for that beautiful rendition. Thank you, Julie and Nicole, for the wonderful music today. And thank you, Jean and Megan, for the wonderful messages today. Yay. Thank you all for being here. And now we're going to move into our offering. So I'm going to ask you now to consider that as we're ready to share these offerings, that we're thinking about setting that law of attraction into motion, the law of circulation. And we know if you're not able to donate money right now, that you're here giving something, your energy to us, whether it's volunteering or whether it's just being present here and lifting everyone else. But I'd also like to give you a quick update on our fundraising campaign, the, let's see, Operation Raise the Bank balance. So we're actually at this week, we're at 12,691. Now that's really great because if you remember correctly, we wanted to get by the end of January 2022, no, we're not going back in time. We want to be $10,000 above where we were. And we just paid out $5,000 in rent. And it was rent and Vimeo, a couple different things, a big chunk, and we're still above, and we're getting closer and closer to that 20,000 mark that we're trying to make. So just keep that in mind, that this is really, really, really a wonderful operation that's just showing its abundance of the universe and the reminder to ask. You know, even we here had a hard time asking. And it's just amazing how the universe opens up. You remember to ask. So now, if you're remote, again, there's a on the screen, there should be an option of where to send your donations. And don't forget, if you need to send a donation electronically, in the weekly newsletter, there's a button that you can hit in the email to donate. So right now, so whether you're remote or whether you're here, we're gonna take and put our offering over our heart, whether it's money or whether it's just a vision of our love or what we're planning to give. And repeat after me: divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And now, Reverend Megan has a couple of announcements to make, and then I'll jump back in here. Give me what you got, and then I'll.
Okay.
I don't know what you got.
Okay, I'm super duper excited about this announcement. I'm looking for some volunteers to help with this. I only need a couple, but you know. Many of you know Miss Elaine Rice. She is a member here. She's been with us
Horse milk?
From 12:45 to approximately 1:30 p.m. Miss Elaine is going to be here. She's going to share with us the story of her life, what she has seen. Turnout for her. We are also going to be doing it on Zoom. So if you know people that may want to watch it, from elsewhere, that's fine too. And there will be more details to come. This is just sort of a sketch right now. So feel free to grab a flyer and share this with people. And as I said, I would like a couple of volunteers to help with changing the chairs around and some of the little things that are going to need to be done that day. And then finally, I have my date book. I'm looking for inspirational moment, people. This is the universe, tap, tap, tapping you on the shoulder. You don't have to create your own thing. You could read a poem. You could read something short that's inspiring, that lifts you up. You don't have to come up with your own thing, or you can come up with your own thing if that's what you would like to do. So please see me. I have my date book, and I brought an ink pen, so there's no changing it. And at this time, we have a merry-go-round of folks today. At this time, I'm gonna have Miss Khalil come up because she has some wonderful news to share with us.
So I'm going to competition with my school choir. I have been chosen out of about 100 people to go to competition. And I really need a pianist for my competition. And it's going to cost me about $60 to $80. And so I have this wonderful fundraiser. It's $1 a candy bar. And I just need a few dollars just to help me. And it would be really nice if you guys could help out.
And this is the envelope to put money in, right?
Yeah, but I'm
If you,
gonna
oh, you're gonna stand.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, congratulations.
And I think everybody knows, if you're not clear on that, Khalil was selected to go to choir competition, and it's a huge deal. And Khalil was born here, like not literally in this place, but you know what I mean? She was born into this community. She's one of our youth and our bright and shining stars that we're sending forth out into the world to continue to share and spread through the beauty of her music and other things. So we really appreciate any support that you could give her at this time. Thank you.
All right, we're getting the show back on the road now. I'm going to give you a few announcements before we say goodbye. And the first one is, don't forget we're Zooming, as Reverend Megan mentioned. And I am so grateful because I won't be able to be here. I'm supposed to be out of town for Elaine's talk, which also means that the February meditation will not be to the 27th of February, but we will be doing meditation today. So that you might want to take time. We'll be doing about a 20-minute meditation after the service. It's a perfect opportunity to expand those abilities that Reverend Jean just talked about, to be able to, to get that noise sort of dampened so we can actually hear that voice of God and respond. And so then we also have a collection for Feed My People will be on the 7th of February. So don't forget, we're taking non-perishable items for Feed My People. And Reverend Laura will be doing a manifestation magic. This will be an online course on January 17th. And don't forget about our angel train. Please let us know, let Reverend Megan know if anybody is able to join us in helping out when someone here in our community needs a hand, whether it's just a card or a phone call or maybe a meal. And then coming up, we have next, January 23rd, we've got Reverend Lena and Kurt, and she'll be our main speaker, and Kurt Landis will also be our musician for the day. And then on January 30th, it'll be me, Reverend Kay, and Brian Clark. And then I think we have some books in the back, don't we? For Jean, you said, I think Megan already mentioned that. Okay, that's great. And so now if you would consider standing, oh, and if there's anybody in Zoom land that would like to stay on for the meditation, please chat in the chat, mention it to Emma, and then if there's anybody who can stay on and wants to, I will take over, I'll log onto my phone and take over the meeting so that you can stay if you're interested. So on that note, I would like you all to consider standing and sharing the affirmation. It's on your flyer. All right, and ready? 1, 2, 3. I live, breathe, and have my being in God. I am being led, and that's from Reverend Jean. Thank you, Reverend Jean. And now, are we singing? Which song are we singing today? Sorry. Oh, we let the love. All right. So get ready. Here we go. We're gonna go out of here on Sunday on a high note, guys. Raise your energy. Here we are.